Okay, so full disclosure, my child has given me a bit of a cold, so I've got this kind of muddy sound in my voice. But Reese has fast-tracked this reaction, so we are going to do it for them right now. Let's go! It was a bit intense, sorry. Let's go. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam Scott-Thorne and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now, if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and Patreon, and I'll put the handles down below and over there. Over there. I don't know if that was any good. Nah. So if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions, you can fast track reactions, become a reaction, there's special roles on my Discord server, and you have access to lots of bonus content like my Vocal Anatomy 101 series, so consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. So as I just mentioned, one of the tiers on my Patreon allows you to fast track a reaction and have it dedicated to just you, and that is exactly what Reese has done today. They have asked that I listen to a K-pop group called P1 Harmony. It is a really long video of them just singing bits and pieces. So we're going to go ahead and listen to that. And I don't know anything about them, so apologies because I don't know their names. But let's just go for it.
Go. Okay, ready? How...
Okay.
I want you to know that I'm never leaving, cause I miss the snow till death will be freezing. Yeah, you are my home for all seasons, so come. 다시 할게요.
Okay. Right, this is a challenge where you have to sing that whole line on one breath. It's on TikTok quite a lot, so I think they're maybe doing like wee challenges. People are giving the messages. So I'll maybe let a couple of these run at a time before I comment, but I'm going to break it down into green-haired guy, blonde-haired guy, and hat guy. So if that bothers you, apologies, but that's what's happening. Right, let's keep going.
I want to I want you to know that I'm never leaving, cause I miss the snow till death will be freezing. Yeah, you are my home for all seasons, so come on, let's go below zero. 얼굴 터질 것 같아. 어이구, 딸기 내셨네. What's your favorite American show? When I was younger, I used to watch Parks and Recreation all the time.
I got that down all the time. That was very nice and twangy. Okay, so one thing I picked up here is that they're instinctively going into different keys, which makes me think that the blonde-haired guy, his voice will be naturally happier on a higher pitch, and the green-haired guy will have a naturally happier sound, kind of lower in his register. I could be completely wrong, but sometimes you find that when you're not given a key to start something in, and you go for where you instinctively would want to go, it kind of tells you a little bit of a fingerprint of where that person's voice is happiest, where they like to sit. All in all though, they're both doing very well. Let's reserve comment for a little bit later down the line.
All the time. 가장 좋아하는 디즈니 영화는 무엇입니까? Snow White, let it go, let it go. Can't
Harmony.
like anymore. Let it go, let it go. Turn away and slam the door into the...
Yes! So that's them harmonizing instinctively because they're just doing it off the cuff. That means that blonde-haired guy has got very, very good pitch and very mindful of a supporting kind of line. So he's going, I think it's a third above. That's really good. That tells me that they're going to work really well together. Yeah! Come on, harmonies.
I know. Show yourself. June, can you sing?
네,
It's me. Never enough, never. 얼른 저희 노래예요. It's not a cover, it's his song. 신발! 하쿠나 마타라. Go! 갑자기요? N-A-S-A I'm in need space, I'm in need space, I'm in need, you know how it's done. If you take too long.
I think the hat guy, he had a pretty instinctive harmony going on as well. So let's see if they can all come in together. 1, 2, and then 3. Good pitching for all of them. Very, very good. They're starting to kind of play around. They're going into their head voices. They're doing riffs. They're doing runs. I want to hear like a solid, maybe even 10 seconds of singing so I can judge it, because it's very hard to pick out like little vocal intricacies from just tiny little clips of singing. So come on, lads, give me some like straight on singing. Let's go.
Hit me back. I can promise you I'll hurry, but all I can say is at least I'll wait for you. Lately I've been on a roller coaster, channeling my emotions. But all that I know is I need you close. I'm a nervous on what I love. Passionate but I don't give no. I don't let you stop. I can never I'm all dressed up. Period.
Okay, actually, we got a little bit there, right? So, green-haired guy, his larynx is dropping a tiny little touch to get that kind of darker tone, a little bit more mature sounding than maybe his age would suggest. He seems quite young. There's definitely a little nasal tone coming through here, and it's from the velum. So when your velum or soft palate comes down to meet the back of your tongue, you get a completely nasal sound. For example. When you lift the velum away just a touch, then the airflow has an opportunity to go through the nose and through the mouth. You get that kind of sound. So by combining that nasalized sound with that dropped larynx and then that kind of lazy diction, he's just getting a very cool kind of R&B style sound out of his voice. The one thing that kind of confirmed it for me that he is singing in that kind of position is that when he didn't know the words, he just dropped his velum a tiny bit. So he kind of went da 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 da. It was already so close to being fully closed down on the oral passage that all he had to do was move a tiny little touch and it became fully nasal. So that's my thinking process on that. Let's keep going.
이별을 말하고 넌 괜찮은 거니 여전히 내 하루는 온통 네 생각에 뜬 눈으로 밤을 지새고 난 두려워 시간이 지나갈수록 내가 잊혀질까봐 우리 시간마저 모두 무너질까봐 나도 모르게 보고 싶어서 네 집 앞에 찾아가 너도 난 네, 다 모르겠어.
Hello. Okay, I like this guy. I like hat guy. I'm really sorry. I don't know why I keep saying it like that. But anyway, what a beautiful tone he's got in his voice. Very aspirate. That's more breath through the folds, if you like. So you get an airy, wispy kind of sound. It's very soft, and his false vocal folds are kind of still in place, so you get a little bit of that textured kind of sound. It's got a real sleepy energy to it. Really nice. It's one of those voices where you kind of lean into the sound rather than get blown away by it. Soft, less is more kind of style. I don't know if you can hear that, but the dog is snoring like crazy. Hold on. Can you hear that? He's at it. He is absolutely playing a game with my emotions. He doesn't snore like this when I'm not doing reaction videos. He doesn't. He does this to annoy me. I'm 100% sure. Anyway, swiftly moving on. One thing I really like about the blonde guy is that he is very considered with his harmonies. He's not jumping over the top of people, and you can see he's kind of thinking about it, and he's approaching it in a way that's, if it doesn't work, he can fall back very, very quickly. So he kind of tests the water, if you like, with these like super quiet harmonies that come up behind the main vocal, and then if he's got it right and he's gauged that pitching right, then he goes and it kind of builds up. It's just very telling that he is used to working with other people and doesn't steal limelight. I'm very much enjoying him.
말해줘 지금 난 너의 집 앞에 있어 우리의 시간을 되돌려줘 아무 일도 없던 것처럼 날 안아줘.
Okay, so green-haired guy ran into a little bit of constriction there. That is where your false vocal folds come in over the top of your true vocal folds. They kind of respond to too much effort. They close when we're lifting something really heavy. They close during like childbirth or a particularly strange toilet visit. Gross, I know, but it's just a couple of examples. Or when we go to fight, they close up. So the way that he was approaching that vocal line was way too much effort and not enough support. So the false vocal folds came in because they thought something was going down. The second time he tried to hit that note, he anchored up a little bit and the note was much cleaner and much more stable. So he knows how to stabilize a sound, but in that moment, I think he got caught off guard. That was really interesting watching him kind of work it out in real time. And you could see that he knew that he'd introduced strain because he grabbed his throat right after he did it. He was like, oh, I need to do something. Then he changed up the way that he made the sound and got it bang on. Good stuff.
I
wanna follow where she goes. I think about it and she knows
Shawn Mendes.
I wanna let it take control. Cause every time that she gets close, yeah, she pull me. 기억이 안 나네. I wanna follow where she goes. I think about it and she knows it.
Good day in my mind seem to take a step up.
Was that hat guy singing the first bit there? It almost didn't move his mouth at all. I thought it was somebody off screen. You'll have to tell me in the comments because I'm not entirely sure. The green-haired guy came in with that fully nasalized sound as well. He is remarkable in that sometimes I find that nasalized sound a little bit too heavy for certain things. But he's balanced it so well that although I'm recognizing it as really, really nasal, it's not overbearing. It's wild. Okay, let's keep going.
뭐야, 안 하죠?
That one didn't work.
내게 매진 날들이 흘러가는 말야 나도 너만큼 혼자 너게 된다면 알게 될까.
He is pushing a lot more of a non-nasalized sound into that more extreme place, and that's why you're getting such a kind of a cry on top of it. Ah! Kind of that push at the end. He's kind of getting from trying to keep it as non-nasalized as possible. He also went up into more of a falsetto-y kind of place, which is where the vocal folds rock back and open and they go really stiff so that loads of air passes through and you get a really hooty sound. It's the difference between head voice, which is a connected kind of fully vibratory sound. He's got such an interesting voice. I want to hear it like extended and see how it copes with shifts in key and shifts in dynamic. I want more. Let's keep going.
기억이 안 나네.
늦어진 거는 가슴이 터질 때 나가 같은 통증과 얼마나 너를 원하고 있는지.
밋밋 뮤지컬한 노래 뭐 없나?
I'm on a boat 눈에 보이는 사방이 나다야
갓 잡아온 인생 손에 외쳐서 먹어
I'm on a boat
야 멀어지는 도시 We're going on 어딘가로 멀리 I'm gonna 내가 원했던 건 그게 전부야
좋았어
외가는 파도 안에 흔들린 I'm on a boat Yeah 멀어지는 도시 We're going on
What is happening?
I won't lie to you
That's Shawn
I
Mendes
know
again.
you live not right for you And you can call me if I'm off But I see on your face when you say it's the one that you want And you're spending all the time in this wrong situation And anytime you want it to stop I know I can treat you better than he can And any girl like you deserves a gentleman Tell me why are we wasting time when you're wasting time when there's you and me instead I know I can treat you better than he can
Nice. I like the introduction of the studio clapping. That was good. Unless there's a massive audience on the other side of the screen, I don't know. That was really good. There's a few wee things he does here that makes me think he is the kind of aspirate member of the group. He's the one with the breathiest kind of sounding voice. One thing is he puts an H sound before quite a lot of his phrases. Now, what an H does is it stops your vocal folds from coming together really abruptly and very, very quickly. Ha! You get that whole burst of air before the tone comes through. So what he does is he adds an H or an H-y kind of sound onto the starts of his phrases so that he can maintain that onset and that breathiness throughout his phrases. That combined with the lack of twang, either nasal or oral, is kind of why it sounds a bit more strained when he's up in the top end of his register. I think if he substituted that ah for ah, he'd be able to kind of pull his voice way higher up. But it's a case of technique versus your own individual sound. Like, do you want that twangy sound? Maybe not, because the other guys kind of got that in the bag anyway, so I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. It's just such an interesting combination of voices. I want to hear like a full song from them. I want to hear a full song.
한번 불러줬어요 거기까지 새 차가웠던 긴 겨울의 하얀 눈도 스르르 봄바 난 아직 열에 좀
몰라?
는 거니
아니 누구보다 뜨겁게
사랑의 열애주 이지
오늘은 가지마
이 바보야 진짜 아니야 아직도 나를 그렇게 몰라 너를 가진 사람 나밖에 없는데 미안해 하지만 내가 초라해지잖아 빨간 예쁜 입술로 날 죽이고 가 나도 괜찮아 마지막으로 나 해봐줘 I can show you the world I can show you the world Shining, shimmering, splendid Tell me princess, now when did you last let your heart decide I can
Lots of low larynx work coming here. Let your heart decide. He's adding that kind of boomy element into his voice by dropping that larynx, making the vocal tract larger. You get lower harmonics through that way. Very, very, very good. I mean, they're obviously having like just a bit of a play around. They're not taking this too seriously, but they're still providing really good vocals. So I think that they're just so used to singing with one another. It's like whatever you throw at them, one of them will find a harmony for it. One of them will double up. They'll know what key they want to be in. They're just pretty set. Like they know their sound and they know what they're going for. They're very good.
Open your eyes. 나 그거 불러줘. I wonder over over sideways.
You're trying to find the harmony.
On a magic carpet ride.
처음부터 너를 사랑해왔다고. 널 사랑해.
Strain again.
나의 말이 촌스럽고 믿어도 그냥 하는 말이 아니야. 두 번 다시.
오래전에 함께 듣던 노래가 거리에서 내게 우연히 들려온 것처럼 살아가다 한 번쯤 우연히 만날 것 같아. 사랑했던 그 모습 그대로.
So the blonde-haired guy, I hear him mostly singing with thinner folds. So if you think about your vocal fold as having like a bottom edge and a top edge, when we're in thick fold singing, or chest voice if you like, the folds vibrate at the bottom. As the air pushes them up, they blow apart at the top and they come back together at the bottom. So you get this kind of mucosal wave if you like, but at 2 layers. If we thin those folds out, they go like this, and they only meet at the top edge. So it's the difference between ah and ah. It's a softer sound, it's a sweeter sound, lighter, more kind of trained, maybe some people hear that as. And he tends to fall into that thinner fold sound. Now it might just be because I've heard mostly him trying to work out a harmony on the fly, so he's not wanting to project too much, so he's not taking a dive and a swing and a miss. But I've heard him drop into his thick fold a couple of times, and I really like the kind of projection of that sound. It's a very confident sound. He's one to watch as well. All 3 of them are really, really good.
Okay. You don't know, babe.
Oh yes, I love this song.
Yeah. Hey.
You don't want. It's the sweetest thing.
Kiss me slowly, it's the sweetest thing.
Yeah. And it don't change, yeah. If I had it my way,
Yeah.
you know that you are. Ooh,
Nice.
You're the coffee that I need.
Hey.
Okay.
So I kind of could feel that was coming, because you need to get those folds thinning out before you go, you're the coffee that I need in the morning. I mean, right, I've not had a warm up today, so give me a break if I didn't hit that, because I can't hear if I did or not. But he was in far too breathy of a place. Like his folds weren't coming together to allow them to even thin out. They were kind of like held apart. So by pulling up into that space, he either needed to get into fully falsetto, or his folds needed to come together more. And it was kind of stuck in this betweeny place, and that's why it just kind of went bleh, for want of a better term. But fair play for just like laughing it off. That is the mark of somebody that's one of my clan. If you can't laugh at yourself, then what are you doing? Let's keep going.
All my sunshine in the rain when it's pouring.
Won't you give something to me?
Give it all.
There you go.
I just wanna see. I just wanna see how beautiful you are. You know that I see it. I know you're a star. Where you go, I follow, no matter how far. If life is a movie, oh, you're the best part.
Very, very clever. Now, remember I said he has the kind of R&B style voice. This Daniel Caesar track, perfectly suited to him. What he's doing though is he's doing tiny little scoops. I just wanna see how beautiful you are. So he's taking it like down to a comfortable pitch and then sliding it up into that top part. So it's not I just wanna see how, which could be quite hard to just shoot straight at. He's going, I just wanna, mixing a little bit of fry in there as well to give it a wee bit of texture, and then he's good to go. He's just sliding up and over to that note. Really, really clever. Very well done.
Oh, you're the best part.
You're the best part.
Oh, best part.
Yes, sing into that pen.
Go, Gio, go.
Yes. I don't know what's going on here. Yes. Hello.
Baby, you light up my heart like nobody else. The way you just like your hair gets me all the west. The way you smile at the ground, it ain't hard to tell. You don't know, you don't know you're beautiful, that's what makes you beautiful. 나를 사랑으로 채워줘요. 사랑의 너희가 다 됐나봐요. 당신 없이 못 살아, 정말 나는 못 살아. 당신은 나의 것들이.
I think these guys are crazy, and I mean that in the most complimentary of terms. If you are crazy, then come and live with me, because I love crazy people. They just exude fun. They're very accessible. Like, I don't feel like you'd be pressured to perform if you went and joined them singing. They're just having a good old time, and if stuff works, great, and it usually does because they're very well trained and they seem to really work well together. But if it doesn't, they're just going to have a laugh. So, you know, join in. An interesting thing is when they're not taking it too seriously, they kind of project and they push a little bit too hard to kind of make this mocking tone, but they're mocking their own voices. And when they're taking it a wee bit more seriously, you can tell they kind of draw back, recalibrate, and then balance it a little bit better. So I can kind of tell where they're taking it seriously and where they're not. I mean, probably anyone can, because it's funny when they're not taking it seriously, and it's impressive when they're not. So you could also look at it that way. Let's keep going. Nice. Wow. Okay, I think he's actually just discussing what I'm about to talk about. I think I've just interrupted him. This is falsetto. This is stiff folds. So where the vocal folds open and close at the arytenoid point, it's rocking back and up and holding those folds stiff. I spoke about it a little bit before. So what happens is there's no vibration. So when we're talking about thick, thin, stiff is like that. Okay, so there's air coming up through the whole time. It's a really light, really breathy sound. You cannot get louder on that sound, and you can't take it down your range. It's very happy, high up. So I don't know if I can remember the actual structure, but it was like, da, 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 I think was the notes. I could be wrong. What's happening is he's going thick, thick, thin, stiff, stiff. So his vocal folds are getting a real workout through that little transition there. Very, very beautiful. Now, the green-haired guy, I think, is about to say something about ha, ha, adding that H sound in. Adding the H sound in doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get falsetto, because you can get an aspirate sound. Hey, hey. Your folds are still coming together at that point. This hey, hey is different because the vocal folds are being held in a specific fashion. You can learn more about this from my Patreon series if that's your bag. I'm going to be doing something on vocal folds very, very soon.
너랑 가성이 좋지.
As she walks by,
2002 뭐야 2002.
I will always remember the day you kissed my lips, light as a feather. And it went just like this. No, it's never been better than the summer that I was sent to.
Okay, I had to stop there because my camera's overheating again. But they're just kind of messing around here. They're starting to figure out where they want to harmonize. Some of it is landing, some of it is not, honest opinion. But it doesn't matter because they're just having a good time. So let's keep going.
We were only men,
Hey.
but acting like grown-ups, like we all in the present. And I'm not plastic girl singing love is forever. But I guess that was true.
Hey.
Oh, I really like his voice.
Well, we sang songs that all of our childhood friends. Anyone like this, say, oops, I got 99 from singing bye, bye, bye. Hold up, if you wanna take a ride with me, better hit me, baby, one more time, yeah.
Paint a picture for you and me on the death when we were young. Singing at the top of both our lungs till the day we fell in love. 비가 오는 날엔 날 찾아와 밤새워 괴롭히다. Price tag, are you crazy? Seems like everybody's got a price.
Wow.
Don't know how to sleep at night. When the sale comes first and the truth comes second, just stop for a minute and smile while everybody.
Okay, I've noticed something about the green-haired guy as well. He juts his jaw out to get a little bit of a brighter tone. So rather than opening up and getting a really big resonant sound that he's not wanting, and what would that line be? It seems like everybody's got a price. He's jutting his jaw forward to brighten that tone up a little bit. Seems like everybody's got a price. So you get a little bit more kind of ping off that sound. Just watch his jaw. It comes forward a tiny wee touch when he's wanting to kind of give a little bit of edge to that sound. It's great.
Everybody's so serious, acting like I can't handle it. And the change in your eyes and the look on that, but you can't really have a good time. Everybody look to the left. Yeah, for sure.
너바라게 오는 듯한 느낌
나는 주는 순간들
그 모든 게 내게.
난 지도하고 싶어.
I didn't recognize that song. It's by Day 6.
24K magic in it. Look out! Boom, boom, boom.
I just wanna dance.
Oh, he's going to go for a really high note. Okay, that is head voice. So his folds are connecting. They're very, very thinned out, but they are connecting, and that's why it sounds so loud. If that was the falsetto sound we were talking about before, it would be very, very airy and very, very light, and it wouldn't be that loud. So that is head voice.
Please!
I'm full of love for me.
Why don't you sit right in and follow my lead? We were just kids when we finally loved. No, 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 no more love.
Oh, look at what? Cry?
This time,
Baby,
No one wanted to do that because that is a big belted note. Dancing in the dark. It's a really big one. And if you're singing it so softly, we were just kids when we danced. It's like quite a big jump. So I can see why they were waiting to see who would take the gauntlet, and no one did. So I just put myself out there. I was stupid.
sing Billie Eilish. Sing a Billie Eilish song.
That English accent.
Love me, the way that you love me. Ooh, I'm pretty. All of my ugly too. I love to see me from your point of view. I wanna trust me, the way that you trust me. 너무나 많이 사랑한 죄, 널 너무나 많이 원한 죄. 넌 너로 인해, 그 죄로 인해 기다림을 앓고 있다고.
Oh, he has got a beautiful tone to his voice. Yes! Yes! Okay, so this was them doing that more kind of twangy, belty sound that they shied away from the Ed Sheeran one, so they can definitely hit those notes, no bother. But you've seen they kind of pushed up to that point, they built that sound, build, and then twanged that sound out. Whereas the other way, their voices were completely configured in a different kind of place, and to jump from down there to up there was a bit like risky. this was way better set up, and that's why it was so much easier for them to do it. Yes.
I need loving, loving, I need it more. When I'm without you, so
Oh, it's Maroon 5.
you think I'm loving, loving, I need it more. I don't need it, love, but I need it, love. Because I want to let it kiss. Oh, baby. Sugar, yes, please. Won't you come and bite it down on me?
I like my girls just like I like mine. Sweet, little selfish. Hey. I like my woman like I like my money. Being a little jealous.
Beautiful, tilting towards the end of that phrase, so his thyroid cartilage is rocking forward, giving him a little bit of vibrato. A little jealous. You get that little turn on the end there. I also like the tiny little flutters that he does. It's quite common now. I've heard it a bunch of times from him. It's like, ah, da. A little bit of like a bleat through a couple of notes, and you get that super fast little riff. He does it quite a lot, and it's a really nice little vocal indicator. I know who I'm listening to when I hear that sound. That's definitely the green-haired guy. I really need to learn their names. Okay, let's keep going.
Hey, 기타 있어. And I'm beautiful back, and it's so cold, my 처음에.
너는 별을 보자며 내 손을 끌어서 저녁 노을이 진 옥상에 걸터앉아. Every time I look up in the sky, yeah. 근데 단 한 개도 없는 star, yeah. 괜찮은 네가 내 우주로 밝게 빛나줘. 라라라라라라 라라라라라라, yeah. 땀땀따라다란땀. 어떻게 이별까지 사랑하겠어. 널
얘들아.
사랑하는 거지.
When the blonde-haired guy goes into his lower register, his voice sounds quite like V's from BTS. It's got that kind of same thick, slick energy. I really, really like that voice. I like him a lot. A lot. Very, very smooth. But it sounds like I'm listening to two people sometimes. So when he goes into his higher register, he's got a really different kind of vocal fingerprint, if you like. It's very, very light and gentle. And then it kind of really thickens up and ages and gets a wee bit more mature when he gets into his chest voice. They sound like two completely different people to me. So I would love to hear a bit more of him throughout a whole song and see, like, what are these transitions like? What's happening when he's going through these passagios? Woo! I'm intrigued.
비틀비틀 걸어가는 나의 다리.
오케이.
너의 의미 없는 또 하루가 지나가도 사람 길이 없는 나도 내가 나를 비웃듯이 멀리 날아가줘.
에이.
돌아가는 새들로 나를 가는 날아가줘.
Tell me you stop tell. 차라리 보지 못한 편은 내겐 좋을 거야. 에이. Tell me please stop tell.
소리 없이
There we go. I just heard a flip. So a flip is when you go from chest voice into head voice or chest voice into falsetto. With him, it was such a deliberate flip. Nah, something around about that note. I don't know. I don't go backwards. I only go forwards. But you'll hear the folds completely have to flip on their axis. They have to change the way that they behave through a sustained sound. And that's why you get that kind of real turn. It's how yodelers yodel. They go from chest to head, chest to head, chest to head. Or chest to falsetto, chest to falsetto, chest to falsetto, whatever you want. So ask and ye shall receive. Apparently, I wanted to hear his passagios, and there we go. He just gave me a little taster. So thanks for that.
잠깐 쉬어가진 마요. 지우려 해봐도 지울 수 없는 내 사랑은
Baby, I love you.
What was going on there? Wow. Okay, so he went fully thick sounding nasal twang into oral twang, which is where your epiglottis comes into play and creates a tiny chamber above your true vocal folds, condensing the air, making your vocal folds thicker and creating a frequency that's very, very loud. And then he brought that up as his folds were thinning out even more. And then he went into head voice, which was still really projected. Ooh, that's not easy. He bore down on that sound as well, so I think his anchors were coming into play to stabilize it, and just perfect execution. Very, very good. A little bit of texture in there as well. Oh, he just like selected everything off the menu at once. A little platter of vocal accoutrement. That's not the right word. That is not the right word. Vocal stuff. That's also not the word. That's also not the right word. But.
Oh yes.
I just wanna show you from the way you touch me and kiss me, the sparkle in your eye.
Oh how I love you. I just feel so lost without you. With my love and intuition, you never have to say goodbye.
Nice little flip, a kind of a cry kind of sound. Intuition, that kind of sound. If you want to break it down into like a tiny wee sound. So that's where you kind of almost like flip, but you're pushing through that and keeping it in chest. So you're almost just kind of licking that heady kind of sound and coming straight back in. You get that little turn of emotion. I can also see that this is by Jeff Bernat. And I've heard some of his stuff. He's a really good singer. I like that song, If You Wonder, which is probably millions of years ago to everyone else, but that's my favourite Jeff Bernat song. Bernat. If you wonder why. Love it. Anyway.
너무 예뻐서 네가 너무 예뻐서 너의 이름도 몰랐어 중요하지 않아서 내게 좀 이상했어 눈이 마주칠 땐 정말 내 것 같았어
That was nice.
소리
느낌은 뭐지 가슴이 나는 explain 언젠가 너도 날 사랑할까 나 꿈이가 다 됐어 So baby give me just one chance
너랑 있을게 이렇게
와! 천 가자! 710만!
Oh, well done.
애는 것이 바쁘지 누구보다는 더 널 위해 안 마시러 도시는 마치 칵테일 저 향기에 속지마
Welcome to my team 우리 drop us Call up the siren 여기저 신호에 틈에 가려진 헤어빛 그 속에 있다면 우린 사라져 Call me out Call up the siren 여기저 신호 빛값은 필요하고 사라지죠 This is the one that you gon' turn up 널 데려가 come back home 위우 위우 온통 울려대 위우 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 경로 울려대 위우 위우 같지 않아 never forget Tell me what's so serious open now severe 위우 위우 온통 울려대 위우 위우 경로 울려대 잊지 마 like you like that 밤새도록 굴려란 너를 채우러 쌀 감사합니다 너 왜 자꾸 감사합니다 맞아 아니 알아 나도 알아 감사합니다
Thank you.
Bye bye everyone Yo where's that Terry?
That was an experience. I don't know if we're going to be able to use all of this video because there was a lot of stuff where I just didn't say anything at all. But we'll see at the end. We'll see what editing this looks like. That last harmony, that extra third line was needed, and I'm so glad that they came in with it. You notice that they controlled the end of that. Da 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 da. Soaked in. Sometimes you need a visual indicator, especially when you've got more than one voice and you want to stop at the same time. You need to conduct that sound through hands or feet, whatever you want. But you need something. I feel a little bit like on edge. I've kind of just joined in with this manic energy that's very telling for how they engage their audience, I suppose, because I've never heard of them or seen them, and now I've got this jittery energy that they've got. Great fun. There's definitely more to say. I picked up loads of little bits that I've not mentioned, but this video is already horrendously long, so let's just come back to this another time. Give me some suggestions for full songs. So hope you liked that reaction. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. Also, a big special thanks to Reese for suggesting this video. I really enjoyed it, and they told me that it was going to be very fun to watch, and it was. There was no lies told in that statement. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me, and how are we going to buy this one? There was too much to go for, so thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon, see you soon, see you soon. Goodbye. Bye.